Hello, welcome to the Millionaire Woman Show, where we'll be discussing leadership, business, and human potential, inspiring you to live rich from the inside out. Unlock your creativity, stretch out of your comfort zone, break through your barriers, take inspired action, and achieve epic results. Now, here's your host, two-time best-selling author, speaker, and certified executive coach, Deborah Kosowski.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 93 of the Millionaire Woman Show. We are going to be talking about silencing your critic. And I know that each of us has an inner voice. Some people refer to it as the inner voice of knowing. But does it really know, especially when those negative thoughts rear their ugly head? Isn't it bad enough that you wonder what other people are saying, or if your efforts, what they're saying about the efforts that you put out? You don't need any extra judgment, as you already are your own worst critic. There are times that you are saying things to yourself that you would not voice out loud or direct to anyone else or your best friend. So why? Why do it? You know, that inner critic is not compassionate, it's not kind, and it's not respectful. If you wouldn't say it to anyone else, why are you saying such mean things to yourself? It's not that you are wanting to get rid of that inner voice, but instead what we're really trying to do is manage those negative thoughts when they come up. When you are in a negative state of mind, you will take actions to support those thoughts, those feelings, and ultimately impact the results that you are getting. You need to stop that critic because it actually crushes your self-confidence. It takes away from any of the essential actions that you are required to achieve the results that you want. So I want you to think of a radio dial. So you can tune into music and messaging that you choose to listen to. Many of the messages that are in your mind have been forged from past experiences. And they no longer serve your current situation often. So it may come up as criticism or past advice. You may hear the voice of your mother. I know, you thought you would never hear that voice. And then you catch yourself and saying, you know what, I sound just like my mother. Or you catch yourself and saying, you know, my mother used to say that to me, and now this other person is saying something to me. Your father commenting as well on something that you just hung on to. Whatever that comment was, you hung on to it. Now in the present, something comes up and you think it must be true because someone else has said it, even if it doesn't fit the current situation. You want to be able to silence that inner critic, the chatter, what you hear in your head. Managing the thoughts you are having is not as difficult as you think. Your mind is flooded with over 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day, with many of them being negative. And you're thinking, well, I don't think I think that many negative. And the thing is, they're only brought into your consciousness when you are aware of them. But it's like a reel that's continuously playing. And again, most of these thoughts are unconscious. And it's not until you bring it into your awareness that you really are paying attention to, oh my gosh, what am I thinking? As soon as you bring up a thought into your awareness, you can make a conscious choice as to whether you want to keep that thought or reject it. Unfortunately, you may grab a single negative thought and play it over and over in your head like a broken record. You did something wrong and you keep telling yourself, well, that was dumb. That was stupid. I can't believe I did that. Well, you don't want to hang on and keep telling yourself that, because the actions that you take after that will follow. So it doesn't serve you. It's time to manage those thoughts and toss those negative ones away altogether. And I found this great quote by Theodore Roosevelt that really fits it. So if you could kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. See, no one else is directing those thoughts on us. Those thoughts come from in between these two ears. And if we can really manage it, you can really change things that are going on in your life. And I know you're thinking, oh, here's that secret stuff, that positive thinking. But what it really is not just positive thinking, because what we know happens is the way you think influences your feelings, your thoughts, and your actions. So it really does influence how you're going to behave and the actions that you're willing to take. So I really want you to think about that so that you don't miss out on opportunities and sabotage yourself. It all begins with self-awareness. Think about, what are the thoughts that you are thinking? Once you notice the thoughts in the moment, now you can change them. But before you do, why are you having them to begin with? Is it that your self-confidence is low? Is fear coming up for you? Even though negative thoughts come up, there may have been moments that you tell yourself, I'm stupid. You need to stop and remember that there's also times that you've shined. You're brilliant. You've had breakthroughs. But you know what? When something bad happens, suddenly we forget about all the good stuff. So I want you to really think about all the great things that you've done. And when you felt on top of the world, you're not stupid. Your behavior or action might not be the right fit for right now, but you're not stupid. When you catch yourself saying a negative thought, I want you to stop and take notice of it. Stop. Take notice. And you can say, cancel, cancel, cancel. Because your thoughts are very powerful. The actions that you're going to take will be influenced based on that. And if you're in a bad mood, you're going to react to a situation or say things that you'd later regret when you could have actually responded to it in a more productive way. Reframe that thought into a positive thought. Positive thoughts lead to positive actions. And positive actions get you closer to the success that you are seeking. The reason people don't achieve success is they're looking for is often because they get caught up in the stories that they tell themselves. And they're unproductive. You're telling yourself that things can't happen for you. So don't get caught up in a story or reel of information that's not true. Because whatever you tell yourself, whatever you perceive your reality to be, it is as you say it is. So get it yourself into a positive state of mind. Your state really changes the actions that you take. So when I studied the morning routines of very successful people, I learned that they put themselves into that positive state of mind. To get yourself into a positive state of mind, some of the things that you can do is pray or meditate, exercise, write in a gratitude journal, or read a book that is getting your mind primed for the day. Even like this podcast, you can do that. You want to get your head in the game. And the morning is not the only time you can do it. You can change your state simply by thinking of a time when you felt unstoppable and you felt of peak success. Your inner voice is not a bad thing. It can warn you, it can alert you to do your due diligence. It is a bad thing when you allow your thoughts to take root and sabotage your efforts. You need to remind yourself of the greatness within you. Everyone does have greatness. Holding back on your greatness serves no one. If you hold back, it is a tragedy. Everything in life is interconnected. If you do not fulfill your purpose, others are impeded by fulfilling theirs. Make a choice. Your imagination can run wild if you let it, telling yourself stories of disempowerment. You need to harness those thoughts and empower yourself. You can break down your stories and just start examining the words that you're using. The word can't. It places limits on what you believe is possible and what you are capable of doing. Yes, there are some things that you can't do. You can't swim at the depths of the ocean without some oxygen. You can't fly above the mountains like an eagle. But there are things you can do, and you are stopping yourself from doing them. Can't is actually a choice. and you are choosing not to. Do you notice when you have a choice, you are suddenly have empowered yourself to take control and the actions required that you need to get done? What can you do? Stephen King said, you can, you should, and if you're brave enough to start, you will. Focus on what you can do versus what you cannot. It is a choice. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. You have more power than you give yourself credit for. When you pay attention to what you're saying and how those words make you feel and the thoughts you are having, you will start taking actions to support your success rather than sabotage it. So here's what I want you to do. When you catch a negative thought, be aware of it, notice and understand it. Stop right there. Cancel that thought. Reframe it into what you desire. What do you want to happen? Get yourself into the positive state of mind. Shift your thinking. When you hit a bad space, acknowledge it, move it away, and move into a positive state of mind. Sometimes you might need to crank the tunes. Whatever it is for you to get yourself into that space, do it. You choose what you are going to say, so do it. So the words that you use are empowering you. I want to thank you all for being on this podcast. This is episode 93. We are close to over 7,500 downloads, and we are so excited that you've been on this journey with us. I also want to let you know we're in pre-launch mode of Let's Be Curious. The book is at the editor. So if you'd like to grab your copy in advance, you want to do that soon. It's at www.letsbecurious.ca. Because when they come out, they're going to be flying off the shelves because everybody wants to learn how to ask the right questions, get better answers, so you can make better decisions. And it really comes down to the mindset that influences the questions that you're asking. So by listening to the podcast and listening to similar podcasts, you're starting to get your mind in the right space. We also would love for you to go over to our website at www.deborahkozowski.com, sign up for our newsletter, get your free MP3 download. I really want to help empower you to really move into the life, the leadership, and the business that you want to create. If you're working in an organization, you're climbing the corporate ladder, many of the things here that we share in this podcast are applicable to you. So you really need to take away those nuggets and start implementing them. Nothing happens until you implement what you learn. So knowledge without action gets you nowhere. So take it, seize it, test it out, see what works for you, and maybe you're going to turn something into your own style. And that's great because you need to do what's going to work for you. And so continue, share this podcast with other people. Go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star high five, write us a review. And if there's a nugget that stands out for you, please email me at deborah@deborahkozowski.com. I would love to hear from you, and I'll be happy to answer every single one of your messages personally. Thanks so much. And as Muhammad Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And I want you to go out and make today great. See you on the next podcast.